Shalom all, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to Divinely Decked Tarot and Oracle Reviews done Stacy style. And I am so excited to be connecting with you guys today to do this really cool VR that is called Show Us Your Decks. And it is a VR at Feeding Your Soul 1212. And I have just really enjoyed the process of sort of connecting with all of these prompts to figure out what deck I wanted to show. And a couple of them I really struggled because I was like, oh, there are so many options here. And, which is going to be the best option or which is really going to, show exactly what it is that I feel. So, at the end of the day, you just have to choose and make the video, right? So that's where we're at today. So the first prompt that we have here is a deck you want to use, but for whatever reason hasn't seen any playtime on your desk. And that is the In-Between Tarot. And this has been around for quite some time. This is Janine Worthington and Franco Rivoli. And of course, it's in this little sort of cigarette box. I just do not like these cigarette boxes because they're just too flimsy, too delicate. But I saw this, it's been around for a long time. I saw this and just really thought the idea was so cool. Like, what is in between the tarot decks? And I've had this for a couple of years now. Here's the sort of the card. And I haven't really been connecting with it all that much. It's got just a little pamphlet. It's a Los Garabaos, so of course it looks thicker than it actually is. It comes in 4 different languages. I love this, Tarosophy. I think that's so cool. Tools for a spiritual journey with Tarosophy. But yeah, the whole concept was really cool. And I find that I go to so many other different decks rather than going to this one. So this definitely hasn't gotten a lot of playtime, and it's something that I want to rectify. So just looking at the back of the cards here, sorry, you have a lot of neo hair, cat hair, dog hair. It's a fur place. It's the fur tumbleweeds. So it's reversible. It's a pretty decent, I want to say like your standard typical tarot cardstock style. You can see that it's got a little bit of a sheen to it, but it's not shiny. I like that. And so, we'll just take a look here. So, 6 of Swords in between the 7 of Swords. So, he's hiding here. He's hiding in the water. And there are people that are looking for him. So it gives you that, like, I'm moving on to calmer shores, but there's also that energy of I'm moving on to calmer shores because I hope to hell I'm not going to get caught because I just stole something and there's people looking for me and I'm still not out of, I'm not out of the water entirely. I'm not out of danger, but I'm pretty close. I'm working on it, kind of thing. Here we have the Temperance card, and this is the Temperance into the Devil, or in between the Devil. And so I love that. Of course, they've got the man and the woman depicted under the Tree of Knowledge, and then you've got the Devil up here. But you've also got these 2 cups that they've discarded the cups, those alchemical cups, for picking their own fruit. So it gives you kind of a different, like a deeper dive into the message of it. It forces you, and if you guys have watched me for a little while now, I love card decks that force me to get outside of the structure, the standardized structure of tarot, and into more of my my intuition. To get me thinking about the message, and feeling into it. Here's the 6 of Cups in between the 7 of Cups. So you've got these 2 children that are connecting and playing in the water. And then the 7 of Cups, there's a little bit of choice going on here. You're in the water, there's choice. And these 2 individuals are, it's the kids that are playing and now they're adults. And there are people in the background. So you can see that they're hiding from choice, hiding from certain people that are, maybe looking for them. These, you can see, like, the cards are like practically brand new because I think I've shuffled them maybe 2 or 3 times at most. Here we have the Ace of Swords leaning into the 2 of Swords. So there is new thought, but that new thought needs to be, processed through the intuition. It needs to be planned. You need to choose to step forward. And he looks like he's getting ready to go into battle. So he's preparing for something. We'll just look at a couple more here. Here we have the Eight of Swords. So this is a card of entrapment, but on the other side of it, it's liberation. So Eight of Swords going into the Nine of Swords, the wounded warrior, resilience, stuck in control, feeling out of control, and not knowing how you can break out of what that is. This does not look easy to break out of. Most of the Eight of Swords cards have that energy of you can walk out of it. It will cut you for sure, but it's not going to be a fatal cut or a fatal wound. You will heal from those cuts. There will be pain required to leave the situation, but you can leave it and heal from it. You just have to take that step forward. This feels very much like a blend of that, where you're in a situation where, you're going to have those cuts and bruises, and you also have to figure out how to extricate yourself from the situation, but you always have support. So that's kind of an interesting interpretation of it. Here we have the Hierophant, and the Hierophant going into the Lover's card. So this is a, sort of a perfect blending, because often the Hierophant card is thought of as the marriage card, connecting people together, along with, your beliefs, limiting beliefs, and being a guide. And the Lovers here are tying the knot. So I think that's a kind of a perfect connection to that. So yeah, that's my in-between tarot, and definitely something that I would like to, have a little more playtime with, to connect with it and understand what it is that it wants to share with me in terms of deepening my own tarot practice. The second prompt here, we have the 12th deck from the right on your shelf. This was a challenge because I have multiple tarot shelves. But the one that I ultimately went on, I just went with like the middle shelf. And that's the Nameless one. This is a tarot and oracle deck. This is phenomenal. I went on a splurge with this one because this one was pretty expensive. I was in a kind of a phase of my journey. I mean, the box is incredible. Oh, apparently I'm opening it upside down. It's huge, right? So there's a lot of cards in here, and they're big. They're giant sized. I went through a phase where I started to recognize that I wanted a little more card experience, again, that was going to break me outside of the mold of the system of tarot and to really ignite my my intuition. And this says, every time the sigil is seen, more power do the nameless gleam. By the might of land, wind, flame, and sea, to powers untold I hold the key. As I have willed, so shall it be. The author is, let's see, I forget her name. She's, I believe that she's Chinese. She's Asian. So it was written and illustrated. The book is written and illustrated by Alexandria Huntington. But something tells me like her name is Cho. So I guess I could be very wrong on that. Because I think her name is different on her website. Anyway, the book is incredible. There's a lot to look at in the book. And because this is the nameless one, all of the cards don't have keywords on them. It's just symbolism and imagery. So this is a book that you want to tap into if you aren't right off the hop recognizing the images. So like I said, these are ginormous, right? Like OMG, and I have big hands. And these are, hard for me to navigate. So I have to shuffle them this way. And even that is a challenge. So from time to time, I will just do sort of the hop on pop method to swap things up and get some, different shuffling going on, put it towards my heart and call it a day. But they're absolutely gorgeous. There's this beautiful, dark, sort of like magenta, mauvey, reddish, crimson color that is all throughout here. It's almost like velvet. It is a matte finish. We've got that beautiful silver gilding filigree. The deck itself is not gilded. It's all in that beautiful black. And then let's just take a peek here. So obviously this is a sword. We have the moon and we have a bird here. So I'm going to say this is the Two of Swords when I'm looking at that. We'll just take another one here. So we've got a bird with the sunflower. We've got a few sunflowers and two birds in the mix here. I'm going to say with the sunflowers, this is either connected to the Queen of Wands or this is the Sun card itself. Here we have two beautiful unicorns. I feel like the unicorns here are the Wands energy, so choosing a direction, choosing a path. Here we have a fish, and I feel like this, and they are reversible, right? So it just depends on how you're choosing to see them. I feel like this is the fish in the cup. This feels like the Page of Cups to me when I'm looking at it. Here we have scissors and a couple of moths. One, two, three moths. So this says to me Three of Pentacles energy, or it could be actually, you know what? It could be Three of Swords with the blades. Now that's what I'm seeing is Three of Swords, cutting the heartstrings, right? Cutting the heartstrings, heartbreak. This is the Fool. We have that Fool's Journey energy. We'll take a look at a few more. And this is a tarot and oracle deck blended. So there are a couple of cards in here that don't match the tarot, but definitely absolutely gorgeous imagery. And I do love the sigils because that is really, I want to say, that's activating that subconscious energy. So this is Death. We have the bird that is bones, and this is the Death card that's coming up and coming through here. This says to me sort of like a Six of Cups energy. I could be completely wrong on that, but I'm feeling six. Well, actually, we're looking at it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I was looking at it from that unicorn energy, like the fanciful energy. And actually, this puts me in mind of Ciro Marchetti's Oracle of Visions. Which we do that. We'll look at one more here. So this is a king of something. I'm going to say Pentacles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So actually, I thought it was a king of Pentacles. This is Six of Pentacles. So generosity, giving. Sometimes it can be withholding, right? And not being reciprocal. So this deck is really, really cool. I highly recommend anyone who is a tarot enthusiast and that you like to collect tarot decks. This is definitely one that you want to have. I mean, the cards are so beautiful, the colors, the imagery. It's such a unique addition to anyone's collection. The presentation is incredible. The box, the guidebook is incredible. The box is sturdy enough to be able to keep it. I mean, this is just, it's delightful. Everything about it is delightful. All right, our third prompt is a deck you are thinking of rehoming. Okay, so every once in a while, I get in a mood where I'm like, ooh, I want something that's a little more pop culture-y. I think I'm ready for something that's going to be, kind of kitschy. And so this happened to pop up. I have one of my best friends. One of the members of her family is also a tarot reader and an astrologer, and he does a lot of publishing of books for card decks and things of that nature. And so I was visiting her in Georgia, and we walked into the studio, and there were like probably 3 shelves full of tarot decks. Like I just stopped. It was like, oh my God, like you took my breath away. And she said, oh, he's trying to sell a lot of them. So if there are any on the shelf that you want to buy, let me know. And I was like, oh my God. So I think I came home with like 7 new decks. But this is one of them. I was like, oh, Anne Stokes, like this is great. The Gothic Tarot, this is going to be really incredible. And I kind of love some of that darker stuff. And I won't say that I love, vampires and werewolves, but I enjoy them like the rest of them. And I really tend to like some darker imagery in the cards and things like that. So once again, it comes in that cigarette pack that I just can't stand. It has, a little guidebook. It's, it is what it is. You don't really need it if you're already a seasoned reader. But then I got it and I was like, oh, it's a pip deck. The cards are small. They're a little flimsy. They're matte finish. They're reversible, I suppose, if you're not looking at the wording of it. So I guess really they're not reversible, Stacy. Let's be real. Here we've got 9 of Cups. Here we have the Fool. This is cute. Little dragon. I like the little dragon. Queen of Wands. Okay, she's fun. She's kind of, fairy-like. She's not too bad. It's dark. They're framed. Here we've got the King of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, Bones. It's dark. 2 of Swords. Feathers. Like, it's okay. But it's kind of, like, I know I was looking for kitschy, but it's a little bit cheesy. This I like, the Star card. Queen of Cups. Here, 7 of Wands, it's Pip. 8 of Wands, it's Pip. I'm never a fan of Pip decks. I just don't like them. I feel like every card in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, and every system of Tarot for that matter, has its own story. Don't cheapen out. Don't wimp out or take a shortcut and do a Pip deck. I know a lot of people are like, oh, but it allows me to open up to my intuition. The deck, like what I showed you before, the nameless one, those are the kinds of ones that activate my intuition. So, the major arcanas are okay, but like really it's just, here's a 10 of Cups, woo woo. Here's a Lover's card. Okay, dragons. I can handle dragons. That's actually what really drew me to this, was sort of the dragon energy. Knave of Cups, 10 of Wands, Swords. So yeah, I never go to this deck. I never think to pull it out. In fact, I just rearranged my whole tarot collection the other day and was looking at it and was almost like, you know what, maybe I need to create a little box of decks that need to go into my garage, because I think I'd rather make room for new decks, to come in, decks that are going to make more sense for me to have. All right, our next prompt, a deck you don't store in your original box, and why? So because I am a reader and I've been reading for a really long time, I just keep a deck of cards with me at all times. And so I got one of these little, sort of cheesy makeup bags that came with a purse from like 3 years ago. And I thought, oh, this is perfect. I don't really bring a lot of makeup with me. So this, is not useful in that regard, but it fits perfectly. A nice little deck. And so this is my Crystal Visions tarot deck that I absolutely adore. It's Jen Giacoso, I believe, is the author's and the creator's name. It is a US Games deck, and I just love it. I love everything about it. I love the colors. I love the quality of the cards. I even love that they're bordered. I know that's not a kind of a common, not common. It's not the thing to have these days in tarot. But every once in a while, I really like one and I feel really good about it. So, like, look at this beautiful Queen of Cups. I mean, she's fabulous. She's absolutely fabulous. She's got all these cool colors. She's clearly been artistically drawn. I always admire that because I can't draw stick people to save my life. I'm very artistic, but have never really learned the skill of drawing and things of that nature. So when somebody can actually create a person to look like a person and you recognize that that's a human being, OMG. Here's the 2 of Swords. I love this deck as well. I've featured it in other videos because it's kind of a soft deck. When you're having trouble, when you're having an issue, Ace of Swords. This is a deck that's going to give you really beautiful messaging, beautiful information, and it's not going to hit you over the head with it. 8 of Wands. We have these beautiful running antelopes. Through that release. Here's the 10 of Cups, that desired outcome. King of Pentacles. Yeah, this deck just, it has my heart. And I just love doing readings for it with people. Like if I'm out and about and, I happen to just like run into someone who sees me farting around with the cards and then they're curious and, I have them pull a card or whatever. Nobody is ever, not liked this deck. It always gives really powerful information, but in that gentle way. Knight of Cups, King of Swords. Apparently, I'm pulling a lot of swords today. Six of Pentacles. I mean, just look at the colors. Like, everything about it just makes me so happy. So, yeah, here's Page of Swords, Knight of Wands. Let's end on a wand. Knight of Wands. So yes, that is my deck that I have several decks actually that I don't keep in their boxes for various reasons, but this was the one that made the most sense in terms of this prompt. All right, our next prompt is a deck with more or less than 78 cards. And that is, I have a few like that, but that is my Ember and Aura Tarot, the Awakening Edition by Jamie Richardson. Beautiful box, beautiful presentation this comes in. This was gifted to me. It's a very special deck because of that. I love the pink gilding, OMG. And it has an Awakening card that is separate, above and beyond all of the cards. And, I should have thought to actually pull that out since I'm doing a reading on it here. But I'll just show you a little bit of the cards and hopefully we'll run across it. And the deck is incredible, or the guidebook is incredible too. I love it because it's short and sweet. Very simple messaging, but you get the point. And I think it's great. The Diviner of Cups is the queen. Diviners are queens in this deck, which I think is great. We have the Devil. This is also a deck that is hand-drawn, so you can tell that it's from the artist's hands. When I create my decks, I have to do them a little bit differently. And I know there's a lot of, down with AI. I'm a person who says, thank God for AI, because AI gives me the ability to actually be able to take something that's been in my mind. Here's the Awakening card. To take an image that is in my mind and actually be able to get it out on paper in a way that doesn't embarrass me or frustrate the fark out of me in order to get that. So I really admire this, and I also I have love for AI decks as well. So this is that Awakening card, and I absolutely love this, and I actually pull her a lot. So I'm really drawn to her. She makes me think a little bit of my Libra rising energy, also very empowering. Whenever I get that awakening, it's like just like that extra reminder of who I am and why I'm here on this earth. So that is the Ember and Aura Tarot Guidebook. And I love that it has that extra card. I have several decks with extra cards that I almost pulled out the Phantom deck as well. That's got 2 extra cards on it. But here we are. Okay, now we have a deck with a cloud on the box, and that is my Dreams Within Dreams Tarot. If you've been following me for a while, I use this card a lot. It's in a lot of my deck reviews and in a lot of my readings on YouTube. I love the presentation in the box, and I love the quality of the cards. It's got a nice little guidebook, good quality colors of the major arcana. And, the description is short, sweet, and to the point, which I think is really good. Look at the backs of these. Oh, they're just so pretty. They come in a gold or a silver. I chose silver because I'm a silver girl. So it's not gilded on the sides, but they have a lot of bejewel bedazzle in the center. And so let's just take a look here. Oh, I've got them upside down. So let's take a look here. I don't read reversals, so and I'm a Virgo, so. And Virgo sun and Libra rising. So like everything has to be in order, and it has to be pretty and in its place. Here is 7 of Wands, Temperance. Like, check out that Temperance. I love the reflection aspect of it. These are like a nice rose petal finish, which I think is fantastic. Check out that 8 of Wands. Love this. The lightning are the wands. And I've actually, I've used that concept in a couple of my own works as well. I just love that. 3 of Wands energy. Look at how unique that is. The card quality is incredible. These shuffle like butter. They're fantastic. Chariot. 4 of Cups. So I really like that sort of fantasy kind of a little bit, not crazy cartoonish or silly cartoonish, but more, like almost like a clip arts energy. Three of Swords, how dark it is. There's a person in there holding his heart. So I really like that. And I like that these images, you see the face, they're realistic enough. But it's a really cool approach. Here's the Wheel of Fate. Super cool with those muses. King of Cups. I love that the King of Cups is a dragon. We'll do one more here. The Traveler. That's the Fool card. So yeah, I love this, and it definitely has beautiful pink clouds on the cover. And it was funny when I saw that prompt, I knew right away, oh, I'm sure I have other decks with, with the occasional cloud on them, but the Dreams Within Dreams is definitely the one that I'm going to use just because it's one of my faves. All right, our next prompt, a deck you've never shown on your channel before. Okay, so this one was actually a pretty easy one to choose. This is called Tarot of the Pyramids. And it's not in its box because these are huge cards, and they came in one of those silly cigarette boxes, very flimsy. The box was even kind of like a little bit destroyed in the shipping part of it. So I can't even remember if I saved it. I think I did, but I think it's in a box somewhere. But this is really cool. I saw these. I believe it was on Amazon. They popped up in my feed, and I thought, oh, I love all things Egyptian. And, let me check this out. So it's Tarot of the Pyramids, and you actually need, it's a small, just a small pamphlet. You actually need it because even though it's tarot, it's a very different experience. So I'll show you what I mean. First of all, they're ginormous. So I'm going to say you might want to just do kind of like a hop on pop, a shuffle situation rather than actually trying to shuffle them yourself. Or, have at it, have some fun with it. Shuffle, make sure you're shuffling over a table. And then they're pretty good quality. They're for being larger, they've got some movement. They are a nice sheen, but not shiny, which I love. I also love like all of the blue in the galaxy that comes up here. So, you're not necessarily thinking that right away when you're going to get a deck from the Tarot of the Pyramids. But of course, me being a starseed, identifying that way, I love anything that is galaxy oriented. So that made me really happy. And then you can take a look at the imagery here. So this is a card of faith. And so I don't know off the top of my head what faith is connected to. So I have to actually look it up. So they've got it broken down into the major arcana and then each of the suits, each of the minor, but everything is numbered. So I have to go down the number and then we're at faith. So this is actually the suit of swords. So faith is the king of swords. How will you find faith in God if you don't have faith in yourself? Pretty cool. I'll read one more. The unexpected. Let's take a look at that. The unexpected. The unexpected is 73. So opening that pamphlet. So 73 is suit of pentacles, pentacles of realization. 73 is Queen, Knight, Page, 10. So this is the 10 of Pentacles, the unexpected. The future always has more imagination than we do. So a lot going on these cards, which I think is fantastic. Of course, I love the coloring that they use as well. It's very me. But definitely not a card deck that, I can read it intuitively and just sort of get an intuitive hit, but not really a card deck that you want to read without the guidebook, because the guidebook basically lets you know what what tarot deck card it is associated with. Sorry, I can't speak today. Authority 41. So looking at this, I would think this is the Justice card, but actually it's a 41. So that means it is not part of the 21. So then it belongs to something else, right? Wisdom 43. So like I could spend a ton of time, fear of existence. That's kind of cool. I could spend a lot of time, going through and memorizing the deck. But I feel like for me, I just don't use this on my channel because for me, it's a deck for myself and I like to use the guidebook. So I just have decided, all right, I'm just going to keep it for myself. In fact, I just realized I like this card paradox. I just realized that I did my whole 2025 deep dive spread using this deck. And I quest for truth. So cool. And I should kind of go back and look at that. It's halfway through the year, time to go back and see where things are at, as far as how far we've gotten here. Okay, so now we have a deck with another animal besides a lion in the strength card. And so I've actually got two to show you here. The first one is the Creatures Tarot. And the Creatures Tarot is a Kickstarter project that I supported a couple of years ago. Sarah Kathleen, I believe is her name. She's from the UK. She does these adorable little drawings. And I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this deck. I just love it. I absolutely love it. It's a gentler read, but it really tugs at your heartstrings. And there's just something really magical about it. And the strength card, there's really no lion here. There's just this beautiful figure, highlighted by the sun sitting on top of a mountain. And I just love it. So no lion in no lion. There's no lion in the lion in that Creatures Tarot. And then, of course, we have the Galactic Star Tarot, Alexandra Henley and Pamela Chen. And this is a fairly new deck for me, which is why it was top of mind. I have a lot of other card decks that have something other than the lion. There's one that's niggling at me that I couldn't remember the name of, but I went with this one because I love that it's a freaking dragon. Just makes me so happy. And this dragon is gorgeous. Like, I want this dragon. So the strength card in this deck makes me really happy with that beautiful dragon. And she looks so happy to be content with her dragon companion, which I think is so great. All right, now we have a deck that comes in a box inside another box. So I do have a couple of tarot decks that do that, but I thought, let's do an oracle deck at this time. And it's the Mystical Shaman Oracle. This is Alberto Villoldo and Colette Barron-Reed. And I forget the third person's first name, but Lobos. And of course, this is a Hay House production. This has been around for quite a long time. Marcella, there we go, Marcella Lobos. Before there was time, before there was language, there were the sacred symbols. And the guidebook, it's well loved, well used. Definitely a guidebook that I really enjoy using in this oracle deck. And then, of course, I love the ribbons. I love the presentation. Honestly, as pretty as these things are, from a practicality perspective, they're a real pain in the ass because they take up a lot of space in terms of storage. But it's quality, right? And I certainly, it feels more special almost when I am pulling this deck out to use it. So let's just take a look. The presentation is wonderful. And of course, there's a ribbon in the box within the box. And the oracle book is really powerful. Very much the Hay House style of oracle deck. I like that it's a matte finish, very good quality. They shuffle really well. In fact, again, I've got larger hands, so it's not a problem, but very easily, if you don't have large hands, they're still easy to maneuver. Really, really nice. Loving the back of it. They're reversible if you want to read reversal. And let's just take a look here. The serpent. I love that they have a number attached because I'm a numbers girl. I love numerology, so I always take that into account when I am doing a reading. Here we have the Holy Mountain. Oops. The Vision Quest. Absolutely gorgeous imagery. This imagery really speaks to me. The rattle. This is definitely a card deck that I use intuitively. I'm happy to read the messaging for myself, but I also use this with clients. I also use this on my YouTube channel when I'm doing readings and things like that. The Andean Cross. So this one is this is the kind of thing that I'm like, okay, I have to just go and make sure I understand what the Andean Cross is. If I were to do a reading in that regard. Here's the moon, nice and easy. The Journey, loving that. And let's see, we have the Hunter and the owl. So yeah, that's my box within a box choice for you guys today. It's not tarot, but you know what? Sometimes we just kind of got to beat to the tune of our own drum to get ourselves situated. Okay, and our next prompt is a deck that would not appear in your top 10 faves. So, no offense to this author, I really love color. And I think part of the problem with this one, it's Tori Hartman. She's a best-selling author. She's done a lot of stuff. I got this really with some high expectation or maybe high hope. Maybe not expectation, but high hope around this. And when I got it, I just kind of felt like it was a little bit cheesy. So it comes in a nice thick box. It's a Watkins publishing company. It's an interesting box because you have a little bit of a ribbon. You have to pull the box out. Actually, this would work as a box within a box too, to be honest. It comes with your comes with a pretty thick, pretty extensive guidebook. The colors are involved, which I would hope so, with it being a chakra based deck. But I don't know. Like, okay, so you can see here. Actually, I don't know if you can see, but the cards came warped. So that was one thing. Second thing, I don't always like this kind of box type presentation. I find that the inserts are cheesy. So yeah, just kind of take a look. The cards came warped. And so I have a hard time with that. You know, it's kind of like, all right, well, I can shuffle them. It's not like I can't shuffle them, but it's just kind of disappointing because they already sort of came damaged. And I don't know that if I had, contacted the publisher and, asked for another card deck, that it would have made much of a difference. So I'm sure I could work on them, but they're shiny. So that's another thing I'm not a huge fan of. The backs are beautiful. They're not really technically reversible in the way that they are, but they're very pretty. I like the starburst in them. I don't like the sheen on them. They're a little bit bigger than a tarot and a little smaller than I would say like a Hay House Oracle. They're okay in terms of quality. They're not bad. Two of Swords, she's pretty, but I don't know. It doesn't really speak to me. Nine of Coins. Okay, flowers, color. It's colorful, but I don't know. It just kind of is it doesn't really do it for me. The Emperor. It's too, I don't know what the right word is. Too produced. Too sort of contrived. Maybe that's the word. It feels contrived to me. I think this deck would look better if it was borderless and if it was on a matte cardstock, maybe with that rose petal finish. I don't want to say that I hate this deck because I don't hate the deck. I feel like the deck leaves me wanting more. It's not a deck that I seek out. I kind of look at it and I go, okay, if I'm looking for just something different, I'll go for this. If I'm looking to shift some things up and it's just a quick little video or a quick little reading, then I'll take a look at it. Here's the Devil. I don't know. I think it's just too contrived, too produced is what it really feels like. Princess of Cups. I don't feel anything about the characters in this, but I would say that the deck has hope. I think it needs just a little bit of a modernized makeover, and I think it has potential. Here's the Three of Swords. Just, Four of Cups, just a little bit cheesy. Just a little bit cheesy. Here's the Tower. She's just kind of floating. There's no feet. Just kind of, yeah, wah wah. That's how I feel about this. So this would definitely not be in my top 10, but I want to say it has potential for a makeover. The next prompt is a deck you associate with the color green. So this is the Crafted Clarity Tarot. I did a full review on this. I'm not sure if it's released yet on my channel or not. I was introduced to this by a good friend of mine, actually the same friend who gifted me the Awakening Ember and Aura Tarot. She is as passionate about tarot and oracle as I am. So that's why I'm so grateful to have found this community online in YouTube as well, because for a long time I thought I was just the only one. But she found this on Etsy. And I thought, oh, okay, well, I'll just check these out. So the quality of the box, not so great. I think they're definitely they're independent decks, but they're a little bit mass produced. You can see that the box is sort of like an assemble it yourself box. Not a fan of that, but I'm not using the box. I'm reading the box. I'm using the cards, and that's what matters. And you see this beautiful little guidebook, but everything about this deck already has that kind of minty green hue. And so yeah, when this prompt came up, I was like, oh yeah, it's the Crafted Clarity Tarot. So if you look at the back of the deck here, or the back of the card, everything, the base color is green. And then you've got these accent colors. And you'll see that throughout the deck as well. So they're a larger deck, sort of okay, okay quality cards, a little bit of a sheen, not too much. They are bordered. They're bordered with an active border, I guess is the word I would use there. But every card has that green energy. So I think spring, when I see this deck. I think healing. I think comfort. Interestingly enough, I associate green with abundance as well, and prosperity. I don't necessarily get that 100% with this deck, although it's a very abundantly drawn, crafted deck. So abundance is definitely here. The card images are busy. There's a lot going on in these decks. But yeah, this is definitely the one, King of Pentacles. I love that he's sleeping. The old man who's fallen asleep in the chair holding his cup. Makes me think of my grandfather. Judgment. Beautiful energy here with the Judgment. So yeah, every card image is primarily based in green. So yeah, definitely that Crafted Clarity Tarot. And that is by Ibiza Tarot. And you can find that. She's got a ton of Ibiza Tarot. She's got a ton of these different styles and whatnot on her Etsy channel. And this one is the secondhand, pre-loved, pre-owned, thrifted deck. This one's really cool. I just picked this up a couple of weeks ago when I had my friend Susie visiting. And we went to Sedona for the day, and they've got this really cool shop, kind of a secondhand shop. They were playing Genesis and Phil Collins when we walked in. I was like, oh my God, I haven't heard this. And they were playing it on vinyl. So I haven't heard this vinyl in years. Like, it was great. Kind of blast from the past. Anyway, they had a spirituality section, and they had a couple of different tarot decks that were available. And this one stood out to me. So this is the Cosmic Tarot by Norbert Lösche and Tarot Cosmico. I believe this one is a pretty popular one. I think a lot of people know about it. I just, I never really had kind of those popular ones. It's got a little bit of a stain on it, almost like coffee stain. Some people, that would bother them. And most of the time that kind of thing would bother me. But I think because it is a vintage deck, and something that I bought knowing that it was vintage, that it's older, that it's got that energy, it doesn't bother me. It's part of its charm. It's part of the story. So let me just see if I can get the publishing year. Yeah, 1998. So yeah, it's got a couple of years on it. And of course it's in that cigarette pack. And it's reversible. I love the backs here. We've got the blues and the yellows and sort of that midnight blue energy, galaxy feel. And of course it's in Spanish. And I love that as well. So this is the Temperance in Spanish. I love that this is a deck that is it's all been kind of drawn almost like in little ink dot, I believe is what they call it, which I think is great. So 8 of Pentacles, ocho de oros, copas, ocho de copas. So that 8 of Cups, apparently I'm liking 8s today. El Colgado. So of course the Hanged One, the Hanged Man. El Sol, we have the Sun. So just a very, I want to say it's a light deck. It's a little bit different. It's based in the Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's kind of fun. It's got a different energy to it. Diez de bastos, so 10 of wands. Reina de espadas. Pardon my languaging and my accent. I try to be respectful, but I bastardize it from time to time. So this is the queen, right? And I love the Queen of Swords here. I love her energy. I love her face. And a lot of the images in this deck make me think of older movie stars as well. So it's kind of I won't say it's like a trip down memory lane, but it's definitely a trip down like vintage. Like I wonder if in 98, when he was writing and creating the imagery for this, that he wasn't thinking nostalgically and, you know, pulling from certain Hollywood-esque stars that were maybe a vintage at that point. So yeah, that is my vintage purchase, and I really like it. This next one I think is about the guidebook. Yes, a deck in your collection with the most used guidebook. That absolutely has to be the Good Tarot from Colette Baron-Reid. Of course, this is Hay House, so it's got a really nice box. It's going to be that Hay House quality cards. I like to say this is a little old school because it is the larger cards. It's super shiny, really thick, bigger cards to hold. But here's the card deck. The guidebook. So the Good Tarot, Colette Baron-Reid, you can even see that it's like, it's bent and it's warped. I try to be really careful. It even has like some sweat stains on the side from when I'm doing, but I love this because whenever I use this deck, I love that the messaging is not your keywords. Like, yeah, there's a keyword, but it's just a little paragraph and it gives you food for thought. And it focuses on one aspect of the card deck or the card meaning, but not the entire thing. So it's not trying to, I feel like this deck tells a story rather than trying to be all things to all people. And I love it for that reason. So I always really enjoy working with this deck and going right to the messaging. So let's just read the Ace of Fire here. Spirit-powered action, inspired transformation, access to co-creative power. When I feel my connection to spirit, I see unlimited potential for transformation. There is no reason to fear because I am supported fully in imagining something new and daring to make it happen. This is a time to dream big. I can be bold and free because spirit inspires me to turn my dreams into reality. So I just love this deck. And I mean, I could have chosen a number of different decks with a fancier card guidebook where, you know, there's journal prompts and all sorts of things. But truth be told, if I'm being real with you guys, this is the one that I use all the time because I just find quite frankly, it's just delightful to use. It really helps me to get really connected to the messages that are coming through. So let's just take a look at some of the imagery here. This has been around for a long time. 10 of Earth, 10 of Pentacles. 8 of Fire. Beautiful panda bear here. Queen of Air. Queen of Swords. I think this might be like her mother or something. Colette Baron-Reid's mother, the author, the creator. 8 of Water. The Hanged Man, the Hanged One. Queen of Fire, she's cool. King of Earth. 5 of Water. Sorry for the reflection there. Hierophant. 10 of Fire. Page of Water. 5 of Air. I love this card. Like, this is the card of conflict, right? 5 of Swords. And yet I don't really, like there's a hint of conflict, like she's in the air, but actually it's like being free from the conflict. So just really interesting approaches to the cards. King of Air. 9 of Fire. Messenger of Earth. 3 of Earth. So yeah, that is my most used, I would say definitely my most used guidebook. The other one that I could have chosen for you guys would have been any of the Kim Cran's decks. In fact, I've got the archetypes that I love and the alchemy, the alchemist. I use those guidebooks all the time as well. All right, and we have a deck with water on the box, and that is Tarot of the Divine. And of course, I love that she is on this beautiful bridge, and she's looking at the moon, and the moon is reflecting off of the water. And I love that this has an Asian theme to it. It's, of course, one of these boxes with the beautiful ribbon presentation. The book is great. This is Yoshitani. The guidebook is great. It's again short, sweet, and to the point. Because this is based on a fairy tale and folklore, it's really helpful to get a background of what the actual fairy tale or the folklore is associated with each of the cards when you pull them. But otherwise, like, it's based on the Rider-Waite-Smith. So if you know the system, you're good to go. And it's linen. It's the beautiful linen cardstock. I love the back. It's definitely reversible. It's a great size for shuffling. Shuffles like butter. Of course, those linen decks always do. And let's just sort of take a look here. Two of Swords. Oh, she's so pretty. I love the imagery. This is like, it's light and fluffy, and yet at the same time, you can really get to the heart of things. Ace of Swords. Five of Wands. Nine of Coins. I think this is a deck that a lot of readers use on YouTube. I've had it for a number of years now, and it brings me a lot of joy when I read with them. The Wheel of Fortune. Two of Wands. Five of Coins. Three of Cups. I love the linen finish, the devil. I love this devil. Just the snake. Just the snake. Five of Swords. I love the Egyptian theme here. Page of Wands. I love her free spirit. Oh my God, like her energy just makes me want to go and dance. I think that's great. So yeah, that is the Tarot of the Divine with water on the box. I think I have a couple of other tarot decks with water on the box, but that was the one that really stood out to me. And then we are at our final prompt here, a deck with your most favorite card ever and why. And I've got two. So the first one is the Chromatic Fates Tarot. And this is a fairly new tarot deck. If you're watching my channel, there's a full review, and you've also seen it in other videos. Here is the Strength card. And funny story, I have had a love-hate relationship with the Strength card for as long as I've started working with tarot. And I've learned how to connect with it on a more regular basis, for sure, over time. But just receiving this deck like 4 or 5 months ago, this was the card that stood out to me. There are a lot of cards in this deck that stand out to me as, oh my God, I love them. Like the Star card is absolutely phenomenal. But this one, I was like, oh, this makes me think of my fur babies. This is the love. This is the unconditional love. This is my inner child. This is what I try to do for my inner child. This is what I do to self-care. This is where, when my ego is bruised, I go to my fur babies. And so this Strength card, it stands out to me. I love the colors. I love the color in her hair. I love that she's hugging her fur baby lion. I've always wanted to do this with a lion. So this just really felt like it resonated in a really big way for me. I love that she's holding this bowl. It's her energy, it's her fire, it's her passion. And she's just feeling so rested and relaxed. I love that there's a little bit of gold filigree in each of these card decks as well. Here's the back of the deck, or the back of the card, if you'd like to see it. And the second one, I just couldn't not show you guys this. So this, of course, is the Lightseer's Tarot by Chris Ann, very famous at this point. I think every reader has this in their collection, and it's the Death and Rebirth card. I would have to say to you, this is by far my absolute favorite death card. Yeah, period, end of story. And I actually have a couple of decks where the death card is the Phoenix, and I enjoy that as well because I identify with the Phoenix. But this one takes the cake. The second I saw this, when I got this deck, I mean, however many years ago, it just totally changed everything for me. And I said, oh, I get it now. Like, I understand death and the death card. I understand what it's trying to say to me, and there's hope. And it almost gives me that energy of whenever I pull it, it gives me the energy of, all right, everything's going to be okay. I can be happy about this shift and this change, even if it's not showing up in the way that I ideally would like. I feel really comfortable being in this space. I'm looking forward to what is on the other side of that portal. So death is coming for you to make changes, but it's also showing you where you're going. Just love it. Absolutely freaking love it. And there you have it, guys. That is my Show Us Your Decks VR in tribute to Feeding Your Soul 1212. And I'm just so excited to have been able to share this with you guys. I hope you enjoyed some of my deck selections. Please feel free to comment in here if there's any of these decks that you might be interested in getting for yourself, or if you really liked a certain way that, a certain card that came up or came through. I would love to have a little bit of a dialogue with you guys. And until we meet again for the next episode of Divinely Decked, I wish for you guys an amazing week, and we will see you on the flip side. Transform well. That's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. It was great to connect with you guys. Please like, subscribe, and comment for more content like this. And feel free to follow me on Blue Sky for even more content every single day. Can't wait to see you guys next week for another installment of Black Feather Couture, Divining the VIP Life.